The billionaire CEO mistook her for his blind date. One kiss later, he knew who she was. Before we start the story, leave a comment telling us which city you're watching from. And at the end, don't forget to rate the story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. Emma Walsh was not having a good day. First, her alarm didn't go off, then the subway was delayed. And now, standing in the doorway of the city's most expensive restaurant, wearing a dress she'd borrowed from her roommate, she was pretty sure she'd made a terrible mistake. Her best friend Sarah had begged her that morning, literally begged, on her knees, in their tiny apartment. "Emma, please! You have to help me. I can't go on this blind date my mom set up. But if I cancel, she'll never let me hear the end of it." Emma had been halfway through her coffee, trying to wake up enough to process this. "Just tell her you're sick." Sarah shook her head. "You don't understand my mom. She'll show up at my door with soup and a thermometer, and probably a priest." Emma almost choked on her coffee. "A priest?" Sarah waved her hand. "For the blessing. She thinks I need divine intervention to find a husband at this point." So Emma, being the good friend she was, the friend who couldn't say no, the friend who somehow always ended up in situations like this, agreed to go in Sarah's place. "It's just 1 hour," Sarah had said. "Grab a drink, make small talk, say you're not interested. Done. Easy." Emma adjusted the purse strap on her shoulder, took a deep breath, and thought to herself, "All right, Emma, you can do this. 1 hour. 1 drink. You've survived worse, like that time you got stuck in an elevator with that guy who wouldn't stop talking about his ferret collection." She walked into the restaurant and immediately felt out of place. Everything was marble and gold. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls, and the other diners looked like they'd stepped out of a fashion magazine. The hostess, a tall, elegant woman with perfect posture, smiled at her. "Good evening. Do you have a reservation?" Emma cleared her throat, trying to sound confident. "Yes, reservation for Walsh." The hostess checked her tablet. "Ah, yes. Right this way." She was led through the restaurant, past tables with couples leaning in close, businessmen in suits, families celebrating something that required champagne. And then the hostess stopped at a table near the window, gesturing to it. "Here you are. Your date hasn't arrived yet. Can I get you something to drink while you wait?" Emma nodded. "Water, please." Sparkling. The hostess smiled and walked away, leaving Emma alone at a table that probably cost more than her rent. She sat down, smoothed out her dress, and looked around, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. "Okay," she thought to herself. "Just breathe. It's fine. You sit here, you wait, you tell whoever shows up that you're not interested, and then you leave. Simple." Her phone buzzed. It was Sarah. "You there yet?" Emma replied. "Just sat down. This place is insane." Sarah sent back a string of laughing emojis. "I know, right? My mom really went all out with this one." Emma was about to reply when she heard a voice. "Excuse me, is this table 12? She looked up and froze. Standing in front of her was, without question, the most attractive man she had ever seen in her entire life. Tall, dark hair, perfectly styled, sharp jawline, a suit that looked like it was custom-made, and eyes that were so intensely blue, she forgot how to breathe for a second. Emma blinked, trying to remember how words worked. Yes, this is table 12. He smiled, a slow, confident smile, and sat down across from her. "I'm Nathaniel. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare." She nodded, still trying to process the fact that this man, was supposedly Sarah's blind date. You're early, actually." He raised an eyebrow. "Am I?" He glanced at his watch. "Huh. Could have sworn I was late. Well then, I guess we're both punctual." He extended his hand across the table. Emma shook his hand, and the moment their skin touched, something shifted. Like the air in the room got warmer. Or maybe that was just her face turning red. "Nice to meet you," she said, and then realized she hadn't given him her name yet. "Wait, how did you—" He smiled. "Your name was on the reservation. Emma, right?" She let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "Right. Yes. Emma." The waiter appeared with her sparkling water and took Nathaniel's order. "Whiskey." "Neat." When the waiter left, Nathaniel leaned back in his chair, studying her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "So," he said, folding his hands on the table, "tell me about yourself." Emma's brain went completely blank. Tell him about herself? What was she supposed to say? That she worked at a bookstore? That she lived in a fourth-floor walk-up with a roommate who set her up on fake blind dates? That her idea of a fancy dinner was usually takeout eaten on the couch while watching reality TV? Well, she started, tucking her hair behind her ear. I work in books." He raised an eyebrow. "You're a writer?" "Not exactly. I work at a bookstore uptown. Small place, family-owned. It's called Chapter and Verse." He nodded, looking genuinely interested. "I know that place," he said, leaning forward. "Wait, you do?" Emma was surprised. "It's kind of tucked away." "Most people walk right past it." "I don't walk past bookstores," he replied, smiling. "And besides, I bought a first-edition Hemingway there 2 years ago. The owner, an older guy with glasses?" "Yes." "That's Mr. Peters," Emma said, smiling for real now. "He's the one who hired me." He nodded. "Small world," she laughed. "It really is. So what about you? What do you do?" Nathaniel took a sip of his whiskey, which had just arrived. "I run a company here in the city," he said it simply, like it was no big deal. "What kind of company?" Emma asked. "Investment firm, mergers, acquisitions, that sort of thing." Her eyes widened. "Oh, wow, that sounds intense." "It can be," he admitted, "but I like it. Keeps me sharp." She smiled. He smiled. And for a moment, the restaurant noise faded into the background. It was just the two of them at that table by the window. And Emma thought to herself, "Okay, maybe Sarah's mom isn't completely insane." They talked for an hour, about books, about the city, about travel. Nathaniel had been to 12 countries in the past year. Emma had been to New Jersey twice. But somehow, the conversation flowed, easy, natural, like they'd known each other longer than 60 minutes. And then Nathaniel did something unexpected. He reached across the table and gently took her hand. Emma's heart skipped. He looked at her, his blue eyes serious. "Can I be honest with you?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. "I didn't think this was going to go well," he admitted. "Blind dates usually don't. But you—" He paused, his thumb brushing against her hand. "You're different." Emma felt her cheeks flush. "Different good or different bad?" "Different amazing," he said. And before she could process what was happening, he stood up, walked around the table and leaned down close, so close she could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy. "Can I kiss you?" he whispered. Emma's brain short-circuited. "Yes," she heard herself say. And then his lips were on hers. The kiss was soft at first, testing, then deeper. His hand cupped her cheek, and she felt her whole body light up like fireworks on the 4th of July. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing a little harder, Nathaniel looked at her with an expression that was equal parts surprised and something else, something she couldn't name. "Wow," he said, sitting back down, his voice a little rough. "Yeah," Emma agreed, her heart pounding. "Wow." And that's when everything went sideways. The restaurant door opened and a woman walked in. Tall, blonde, wearing a red dress that screamed confidence. She scanned the room, and then her eyes landed on their table. "Nathaniel!" she called out, waving. Nathaniel turned. His face went from relaxed to confused in half a second. "Catherine?" He stood up. "What are you doing here?" The blonde, Catherine, walked over, smiling. "I'm here for our date." She looked at Emma, then back at Nathaniel. "Table 12, right?" Emma's stomach dropped. Nathaniel blinked. "Our date?" Catherine nodded, pulling out her phone. "I have the confirmation right here. Dinner at 7. Table 12. And then Emma understood. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. She looked at the table number written on the little gold plaque. Table 21. Not table 12. She was at the wrong table. Nathaniel followed her gaze, saw the number, and his expression shifted from confused to stunned. "Wait," he looked at Emma. "You're not—" Emma felt her face go from warm to blazing hot. I sat at the wrong table." She stood up, knocking her napkin to the floor. "I thought this was— I'm so sorry." Catherine looked between them, clearly piecing it together. "Did I interrupt something?" Emma didn't wait to hear Nathaniel's response. She grabbed her purse, muttered another apology, and practically ran out of the restaurant, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her heart hammering in her chest. Outside, the cool night air hit her face, and she leaned against the building, trying to catch her breath. What just happened? She kissed a stranger. She kissed someone else's blind date. She sat at the wrong table. And now, oh God, now she had to go home and tell Sarah. And worse, much worse. She couldn't stop thinking about that kiss, about his hand on her cheek, about the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the world. "Emma, this is bad," she whispered to herself. "This is really, really bad." But deep down, she knew something else was true too. That kiss, that connection, it was real. And she had no idea what to do about it. Emma burst through the apartment door like she was being chased by ghosts. Sarah was on the couch, eating ice cream straight from the container, watching some home renovation show. "How'd it go?" Sarah asked without looking up. "Was he boring? Weird? Did he talk about cryptocurrency the whole time?" Emma dropped her purse on the floor, kicked off her heels, and collapsed onto the couch with a dramatic groan. Sarah finally looked over, spoon frozen halfway to her mouth. "Okay, that bad." "Worse," Emma said, covering her face with her hands. "So much worse." Sarah set down the ice cream, her eyes going wide. "Wait, what happened? Did he, propose? Was he a catfish? Oh God, was he married? No, nothing like that." Emma sat up, her hair a mess, her lipstick. Well, let's just say it wasn't where it was supposed to be anymore. "I sat at the wrong table." Sarah blinked. "What?" "Wrong." Table Emma grabbed a throw pillow and hugged it to her chest. "I sat at table 21. The reservation was for table 12. "Okay, so?" Sarah shrugged. "That's not that bad. Just a little mix-up." "Sarah." Emma looked her dead in the eye. "I sat at the wrong table, talked to the wrong guy for an hour, and then—" She paused, her cheeks turning red. "And then I kissed him." Silence. Complete silence. Sarah's mouth dropped open. "You what?" "I kissed him," Emma practically shouted. And it was incredible. Like movie-level incredible. And then his actual blind date showed up, and I realized I was at the wrong table the entire time. And I ran. I literally ran out of there like some kind of rom-com disaster. Sarah stared at her for a solid 5 seconds. And then she burst out laughing. Not just a little chuckle. Full on, doubled over, tears streaming down her face laughter. "It's not funny." Emma threw the pillow at her. "It's hilarious," Sarah wheezed, trying to catch her breath. "Oh my God, Emma, only you could accidentally crash someone else's date? kiss them, and then run away. Emma groaned, sinking deeper into the couch. What do I do? I can't go back there. I can't face him. I don't even know his last name. Sarah wiped her eyes, still grinning. Wait. Back up. Tell me everything. What was he like? Emma sighed, and despite the absolute chaos of the situation, she couldn't help but smile. He was perfect. Like, annoyingly perfect. Tall, gorgeous, successful. He runs some investment company. And Sarah, we just clicked. We talked about books and travel, and it felt so natural, like I'd known him forever. And the kiss? Sarah leaned in, clearly invested now. Emma bit her lip. Life-changing. Wow. Sarah sat back, processing. Okay, so let me get this straight. You accidentally went on the best date of your life with a guy who thought you were me. Pretty much. And now you'll probably never see him again. Exactly. Sarah grabbed her phone. What's his name? Nathaniel. That's all I know. Nathaniel. Works in investments. Sarah's fingers flew across her phone screen, typing. Nathaniel. Investment firm. City. Her eyes suddenly went huge. Oh. Oh no. Emma sat up. What? What is it? Sarah turned her phone around, showing Emma a photo. It was him. Nathaniel. Standing in front of a massive glass building, arms crossed, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Emma's car. Nathaniel Cross, Sarah read from the screen. CEO of Crosstech Investments. Net worth estimated at $2.3 billion. Billionaire. Emma, you kissed a billionaire. Emma felt all the blood drain from her face. A billion. With a B. With a very large B. Sarah scrolled through the article. He's like famous. There are articles about him in Forbes, Bloomberg, everything. He's one of the most eligible bachelors in the country. Emma grabbed the phone, scrolling through photos. There he was at charity galas, business conferences, shaking hands with politicians. And in every single photo, he looked exactly like he had tonight. Confident, powerful, completely out of her league. This is bad, Emma whispered. This is so bad. Why is it bad? Sarah asked. He kissed you back, didn't he? Yeah. But Emma gestured at the phone. Look at him. Look at his life. I work at a bookstore, Sarah. I take the subway. My idea of fancy is when I splurge on the guacamole at Chipotle. Sarah took her phone back. So what? He liked you. The real you. He didn't know you were some billionaire heiress, and he still kissed you. He thought I was you, Emma pointed out. Okay, fair. But still. Sarah stood up, pacing now. You can't just let this go. You felt something, right? Emma nodded slowly. Yeah, I did. Then you have to see him again. How? Emma threw her hands up. I can't just walk into his billion-dollar office building and be like, hey, remember me? The girl who catfished you by accident? Sarah grinned. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Absolutely not. Come on. What's the worst that could happen? Emma gave her a look. He could have me arrested for trespassing. He's not going to have you arrested. Sarah sat back down, grabbing Emma's hands. Look, I know this is terrifying. But you said it yourself, it was the best kiss of your life. And from the sound of it, he felt it too. You owe it to yourself to at least try. Emma wanted to argue. She wanted to say this was crazy, that she should just forget about it. Move on, pretend it never happened. But she couldn't stop thinking about the way Nathaniel had looked at her, the way he'd smiled, the way his hand had felt in hers. Maybe, she said quietly. Maybe you're right. Sarah squeezed her hands. I'm always right. Emma laughed despite herself. Okay, so what do I do? First, Sarah said, standing up and pulling Emma to her feet. You stop panicking. Second, we figure out a plan. And third, She grinned. "We get you back in front of that man." "And how exactly do we do that?" Sarah's eyes lit up with mischief. "Leave that to me." The next morning, Emma woke up to 17 text messages from Sarah, all of them variations of, "I have a plan," and "trust me." She groaned, rolled over, and checked the time. 7:30 a.m., way too early for whatever chaos Sarah was about to unleash. Her phone rang. Sarah. "It's 7:30 in the morning," Emma answered, her voice still groggy. "I know. I've been up since 6. Sarah sounded way too awake. "Okay, so I did some research." "Research?" "Nathaniel Cross has a routine. Every morning at 8:15, he stops at the same coffee shop. Brew and Pages. It's 3 blocks from his office." Emma sat up. "How do you know that?" "I have my sources." Sarah paused. "Okay, fine. I found a lifestyle article about him." "But that's not the point. The point is, you know where he'll be, so you can accidentally run into him." "Sarah, that's stalking." "It's not stalking. It's strategic positioning." Emma rubbed her face. "I don't know." "Emma," Sarah's voice got serious. "You spent all night talking about how much you regret running away. Here's your chance to fix it. What's the worst that could happen?" Emma thought about it. Nathaniel could ignore her. He could be angry, he could laugh at her, or he could smile at her the way he did last night. "Okay," she said, throwing off the covers. "Okay, I'll do it." "Yes," Sarah cheered. "Wear something cute but casual. Like, I just happened to be in the neighborhood cute." "Got it." "And Emma." "Yeah." "Good luck. You're going to need it." An hour later, Emma stood outside Brew and Pages, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might actually break through her ribcage. The coffee shop was cute. Exposed brick, plants hanging from the ceiling, the smell of fresh coffee, and baked goods wafting through the air. Through the window, she could see it was moderately busy. A few people on laptops, a couple sharing a muffin, and no sign of Nathaniel. Yet. Emma checked her watch. 8:10 a.m. Sarah said he usually arrived at 8:15. She took a deep breath, pushed open the door, and walked inside. The barista, a young guy with a nose ring and a friendly smile, greeted her. "Morning. What can I get you?" Emma glanced at the menu, her brain not really processing anything. "Just a latte. Medium. Thanks." "You got it." She paid, grabbed her coffee, and found a table near the window. Not too obvious, but visible enough that when Nathaniel walked in, he'd see her. Her phone buzzed. Sarah. "Is he there yet?" Emma replied. "Not yet. I'm currently dying of anxiety, thanks for asking." "You're fine. Just be yourself. Smile. Be charming." Easy for you to say. Emma set her phone down and tried to look natural. She took a sip of her latte, which was actually really good, and pulled out a book from her bag. If she was going to sit here and wait, she might as well look like she had a reason to be here. The door chimed. Emma looked up, and there he was. Nathaniel Cross, in a charcoal gray suit, carrying a leather briefcase, looking like he'd just stepped out of a magazine ad for success. Their eyes met, and for a second, just a second, the entire world stopped. Nathaniel froze in the doorway, his hand still on the door handle. His expression shifted from surprise to something Emma couldn't quite read. Confusion? Recognition? Maybe a little bit of both. Emma's grip tightened on her coffee cup. Her book, which she now realized was upside down, sat uselessly in front of her. "Say something," her brain screamed. "Anything. Don't just sit there like a statue." But before she could open her mouth, Nathaniel walked toward her. Slowly, deliberately, like he was trying to figure out if she was real or some kind of coffee shop-induced hallucination. He stopped at her table. "Emma?" His voice was careful, like he was testing the name. She swallowed. Hi. He glanced around the coffee shop, then back at her. Are you following me? What? No. Emma's face went red. I mean, not in a creepy way. She gestured vaguely. I come here sometimes. It's close to my work. That was a lie. She'd never been to this coffee shop in her life. And from the look on Nathaniel's face, he knew it. He raised an eyebrow. You work at a bookstore uptown, right? Yes. I was in the area. For reasons. Smooth, Emma. Real smooth. Nathaniel's lips twitched. Was he trying not to smile? Reasons. Important reasons, she added, doubling down on the terrible lie. He set his briefcase down, and to her complete shock, pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. Okay, let's say I believe you. Emma blinked. You're not mad? Mad? He leaned back, crossing his arms. Why would I be mad? Because She lowered her voice, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. Because I sat at the wrong table last night. I crashed your blind date. I let you think I was someone else. And then I kissed you. And then I ran away like some kind of coward. Nathaniel studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. That same slow, devastating smile from the night before. Yeah, you did all of those things. Emma groaned, covering her face with her hands. I'm the worst person ever. I wouldn't say that. She peeked through her fingers. No. He leaned forward, resting his arms on the table. Confused. Yes. Intrigued. Definitely. But mad? Not really. Emma lowered her hands, her heart doing strange, fluttery things. Intrigued? Very. His blue eyes held hers. You kissed me and then disappeared. Do you have any idea how rare that is? What, kissing you? He laughed. No. Someone surprising me. I spend most of my day in meetings with people who want something from me. Money, connections, favors. It's all very transactional. He paused. But you didn't even know who I was. You just talked to me like I was a normal person. Emma bit her lip. You are a normal person. Not according to Forbes. She smiled despite herself. Okay, so you're a very rich, normal person. Exactly, he grinned. And for the record, that was the best blind date I never actually had. Emma's heart flipped. Really? Really? He reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. So here's my question. Who are you, actually? Because I know you're not my blind date. And unless I'm mistaken, you're not just some random woman who sits at wrong tables for fun. Emma took a deep breath. My name is Emma Walsh. I work at Chapter and Verse bookstore. My best friend Sarah was supposed to go on that blind date, but she couldn't. So she asked me to go instead. I sat at the wrong table by accident. And then you showed up, and She shrugged helplessly. I didn't correct you. I should have. But I didn't. Nathaniel nodded slowly, processing. So the woman in the red dress, Catherine, that was your actual date. Right. He ran a hand through his hair. Well, for what it's worth, I'm glad you sat at the wrong table. Emma's eyes widened. You are? Yeah. He smiled. Because otherwise, I would have spent the evening with someone I had zero chemistry with, and I never would have met you. Emma felt her cheeks flush. That's really sweet. I'm a sweet guy, he said. Deadpan. She laughed. A sweet billionaire? He winced. You know about that? My roommate Googled you. Of course she did, he sighed. Look, I know what it looks like. The money, the company, all of it. But I'm just Nathaniel Cross, CEO of Crosstech Investments, net worth $2.3 billion. Forbes' most eligible bachelor 3 years running. He stared at her. You really did your research. Sarah's very thorough. Apparently. He leaned back in his chair. So now that you know all of that, are you going to run away again? Emma thought about it. Honestly thought about it. Because yes, he was a billionaire. Yes, he was way out of her league. Yes, this whole situation was completely insane. But when she looked at him, really looked at him, she didn't see dollar signs or magazine covers. She saw the guy who talked about books with her, who smiled when she made a joke, who kissed her like she was the only person in the world. "No," she said finally. "I'm not running." His expression softened. "Good. Because I'd really like to take you to dinner. An actual dinner, where we both know who the other person is." Emma smiled. "I'd like that. Tonight? Tonight? Unless you're busy saving more blind dates from disaster." She laughed. "Tonight works." Nathaniel stood up, grabbing his briefcase. "I'll pick you up at 7. And Emma?" "Yeah? Wear whatever you want. I don't care if it's a borrowed dress or sweatpants. I just want to see you." And with that, he walked out of the coffee shop, leaving Emma sitting there with a stupid grin on her face and a heart that felt about 10 sizes too big for her chest. Her phone buzzed immediately. "Sarah." "Well?" "Emma, I have a date, a real one." Sarah. "With the billionaire?" Emma. "With the billionaire?" Sarah. "I'm screaming. I'm literally screaming." Emma laughed, tucking her phone away. She took another sip of her coffee, looked out the window at the busy city street, and thought to herself, "Okay, universe. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm here for it." The rest of the day passed in a blur. Emma went to work at the bookstore, but she might as well have been on another planet. She reorganized the same shelf 3 times. She recommended a cookbook to someone looking for a thriller, and when Mr. Peters asked if she was feeling all right, she just smiled and said, "Never better." By the time her shift ended, she was a bundle of nerves and excitement. She rushed home, threw open the apartment door, and found Sarah already waiting with an arsenal of dresses laid out on the couch. "Okay," Sarah said, hands on her hips. "We have 2 hours to make you look amazing. Let's do this." "Sarah, I don't need—" "Yes, you do. This is a billionaire, Emma. A billionaire who is taking you on a real date. We're not messing this up." Emma laughed, surrendering. "Fine, but nothing too fancy." "Define fancy." "Like I still want to be able to breathe." Sarah grinned. "Deal." They spent the next hour trying on outfits, doing makeup, debating shoes. At one point, Sarah tried to put Emma in a dress with sequins, and Emma flat out refused. "He said to wear whatever I want," Emma argued. "Yeah, but—" "No buts. I'm wearing this." Emma held up a simple navy blue dress. Fitted but not tight. Elegant but comfortable. And most importantly, it felt like her. Sarah sighed dramatically. "Fine, but I'm doing your makeup. Deal." At exactly 7 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Emma's heart leapt into her throat. Sarah squealed, grabbing Emma's shoulders. "Okay, okay. You look amazing. Just be yourself. Don't overthink it. And for the love of God, don't sit at the wrong table this time." Emma laughed nervously. "Thanks for the vote of confidence." "You've got this." Sarah pushed her toward the door. "Now go get your billionaire." Emma took a deep breath, smoothed down her dress, and opened the door. And there he was, Nathaniel, standing in her hallway, holding a bouquet of white roses, wearing a perfectly tailored suit, but with his tie slightly loosened. Like he'd been nervous, too. "Hi," he said, smiling. "Hi," Emma replied, her heart doing somersaults. He handed her the roses. "For you." "They're beautiful." She took them, trying not to swoon. "Let me just put these in water." She rushed to the kitchen, found a vase, well, a mason jar, and filled it with water. Sarah gave her a thumbs up from the couch, and Emma rolled her eyes, smiling. When she came back, Nathaniel offered his arm. "Ready?" "Ready." They walked down the 4 flights of stairs together, and when they stepped outside, Emma stopped short. Parked in front of her building was a sleek black car, with a driver in a uniform. "You brought a driver?" Emma asked. Nathaniel shrugged. "I thought it'd be nice. Less stressful than finding parking." "Right. Parking. That's very practical." He opened the door for her, and she slid inside. The interior was all leather and wood paneling, and probably cost more than her entire yearly salary. Nathaniel got in beside her, and the driver pulled smoothly into traffic. "So where are we going?" Emma asked. He smiled mysteriously. "It's a surprise." "A good surprise, or a I'm secretly a vampire surprise," he laughed. "Definitely the first one." They drove through the city, talking easily about their days. Emma told him about the customer who tried to return a book she'd clearly spilled coffee on. Nathaniel told her about a merger deal that almost fell apart because 2 CEOs refused to sit in the same room. And the whole time, Emma kept thinking, this is real. This is actually happening. The car finally stopped in front of a building Emma recognized, the art museum. But it was closed. The lights were off. Emma said, confused. "I think they're closed." Nathaniel smiled. "I know." He got out, offered his hand, and led her to the front entrance. A security guard opened the door, nodded at Nathaniel, and let them inside. Emma's jaw dropped. Did you rent out the entire museum?" "Just for a few hours," Nathaniel said casually, like that was a totally normal thing to do. The museum was empty. Silent. Beautiful. Paintings hung on the walls, sculptures stood in corners, and soft lighting made everything look like a dream. "Nathaniel, this is too much?" He looked genuinely worried. "I wasn't sure. I just thought. You like books, and museums are kind of like books, but with art and—" Emma kissed him. Right there, in the middle of the empty museum. She stood on her tiptoes, cupped his face, and kissed him like her life depended on it. When she pulled away, Nathaniel was smiling. "So, not too much." "It's perfect," Emma whispered. "You're perfect." "I'm really not," he said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "But I'm trying." And as they walked through the museum together, hand in hand, Emma realized something. This wasn't just a date. This was the beginning of something real. They wandered through the museum like they were the only 2 people in the world. Because, technically, they were. Nathaniel led her through galleries filled with impressionist paintings, modern sculptures, ancient artifacts. He pointed out pieces he liked, asked her opinion on others, and listened, really listened, when she talked about the stories she imagined behind each work of art. "See that one?" Emma stopped in front of a painting of a woman sitting by a window, looking out at a garden. "I always wonder what she's thinking. Is she waiting for someone? Is she remembering something? Is she just enjoying the quiet?" Nathaniel stepped closer, studying the painting. "Maybe she's thinking about taking a chance on something new." Emma looked at him. "Is that what you think?" "It's what I hope." He met her gaze, and the air between them shifted. Warmer. Charged. "I hope she's thinking that sometimes the best things in life come from unexpected places." Emma's breath caught. "Like sitting at the wrong table?" "Exactly like that." They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other, and Emma thought her heart might actually burst. Then Nathaniel broke the spell with a grin. "Come on, I want to show you something." He led her to another room, this one filled with old books under glass cases, first editions, rare manuscripts, some of them hundreds of years old. Emma's eyes went wide. "Oh my God. Thought you might like this?" Nathaniel watched her face light up as she moved from case to case, reading the descriptions, marveling at the history. "This is incredible," she breathed, stopping in front of a leather-bound volume. This is a first edition of Pride and Prejudice. Do you know how rare this is? Actually, yes. Nathaniel came to stand beside her. I donated it to the museum 2 years ago. Emma whipped around. You what? He shrugged. I collect rare books. Well, I used to. Now I just make sure they end up somewhere people can appreciate them. Nathaniel, Emma shook her head, smiling. You're full of surprises. Good surprises, I hope. The best. They continued through the museum and eventually ended up in a courtyard garden, an indoor oasis with a fountain, trees, and twinkling lights strung overhead. A small table was set up with candles, wine, and what looked like an actual gourmet meal. Emma stopped. You did all this. I had help, Nathaniel admitted. But yes, I wanted tonight to be special. It already is. Emma walked to the table, running her fingers along the edge. But this is like something out of a movie. Well, our first meeting was pretty cinematic. He pulled out her chair. Figured I'd keep the theme going. They sat down, and over dinner, which was amazing, some kind of pasta dish Emma couldn't even pronounce. They talked. Really talked. Not just surface-level small talk, but deep, real conversation. Nathaniel told her about growing up with parents who expected perfection, about building his company from the ground up, about the pressure of always being on, always being the guy everyone looked to for answers. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing a role, he admitted, swirling his wine glass. The successful CEO, the guy who has it all figured out. But the truth is, I don't. I'm just making it up as I go, hoping I don't screw everything up. Emma reached across the table, taking his hand. You're not screwing anything up. You're human. That's allowed. He squeezed her hand. What about you? What's your story? Emma laughed. My story is a lot less glamorous. I grew up in a small town. My parents run a hardware store. I came to the city for college, fell in love with books, and never left. No billion-dollar companies. No Forbes articles. Just me, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And, what do you want? Nathaniel asked, leaning forward. Emma thought about it. Really thought about it. I want to matter. I want to do something that makes people feel something, whether that's through books or writing or just, I don't know, connecting with people. You matter, Nathaniel said softly. You mattered to me the second you sat down at that table. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Because it makes me like you even more than I already do. He smiled. That's kind of the point. They finished dinner, and Nathaniel stood, offering his hand. Dance with me. Emma blinked. There's no music. So? He pulled out his phone, pressed a button, and soft jazz started playing through hidden speakers. Now there is. She laughed, taking his hand, and he pulled her close. They swayed together in the garden, under the twinkling lights, and Emma rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. This is crazy, she murmured. What is? This. U.S. 2 days ago, I didn't even know you existed. And now, she pulled back to look at him. Now I can't imagine not knowing you. Nathaniel cupped her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. Emma, I need you to know something. Okay. I don't do this. I don't rent out museums. I don't open up to people. I don't let anyone in. But with you, he took a breath. With you, it feels easy. Like I can just be myself. And that scares the hell out of me. Emma's heart ached in the best way. It scares me too. Yeah? Yeah. Because what if this is just a moment? What if tomorrow we wake up and realize this was just some crazy, beautiful mistake? Nathaniel shook his head. It's not a mistake. How do you know? Because I've never felt like this before. He leaned his forehead against hers. And I don't want it to end. Emma closed her eyes, breathing him in. Me neither. They stood there, holding each other, the music playing softly around them. And for the first time in a long time, Emma felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. Eventually, the night had to end. Nathaniel drove her home, walked her to her door, and kissed her goodnight. A slow, sweet kiss that left her dizzy. "I'll call you tomorrow," he said, his hand still on her waist. "You better," Emma replied, smiling. He kissed her once more, then walked away, and Emma floated into her apartment like she was made of clouds. Sarah was waiting on the couch, practically vibrating with excitement. "Tell me everything. And I mean everything." Emma collapsed beside her, grinning. It was perfect. He rented out the entire art museum. There was dinner and dancing, and she sighed. "Sarah, I think I'm falling for him." Sarah squealed, grabbing her hands. "I knew it! I knew this would happen." "But it's crazy, right?" Emma said, her smile fading slightly. "He's a billionaire. I'm me. How is this supposed to work?" "Who cares?" Sarah said firmly. "He likes you. You like him. That's all that matters." "But what if—" "No," Sarah cut her off. "No what ifs. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to let yourself be happy. And you're going to see where this goes. Got it?" Emma took a deep breath, then nodded. "Got it. Good. Now go to bed. You've got that dreamy smile on your face, and I need you to stop being adorable so I can sleep." Emma laughed, hugging her friend. "Thank you. For everything. That's what best friends are for." The next few weeks were like a dream. Nathaniel and Emma saw each other as often as they could. He'd stop by the bookstore between meetings. She'd meet him for lunch at his office. They'd spend evenings walking through the city, talking about everything and nothing. And slowly, Emma started to realize that this wasn't just a fling. This was real. But of course, reality has a way of crashing in when you least expect it. It started with a phone call. Emma was at work, restocking shelves, when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Emma Walsh?" A woman's voice. Professional, cold. "Yes, who's this?" "My name is Victoria Sterling. I'm Mr. Cross's executive assistant. He asked me to call you." Emma's stomach dropped. "Is everything okay?" "Mr. Cross would like to invite you to a gala event this Saturday evening. It's a charity fundraiser. Black tie. He'll send a car for you at 6. Emma blinked. "A gala?" "Yes. Will you be attending?" Yes. Yes, I'll be there." "Excellent. I'll send over the details. Have a good day, Miss Walsh." The line went dead. Emma stared at her phone, her heart racing. A gala. Black tie. She didn't even own anything remotely black tie appropriate. She immediately called Sarah. "Emergency. I need a dress. A fancy dress, like Cinderella-level fancy." Sarah didn't even hesitate. "I'm on my way. We're going shopping. Right now." 2 hours later, Emma was standing in a boutique dressing room staring at herself in the mirror. The dress was stunning. A deep emerald green, fitted at the top, flowing at the bottom. It made her feel like a princess, but it also cost more than 2 months' rent. "Sarah, I can't afford this," Emma said, stepping out of the dressing room. Sarah crossed her arms. "Then let Nathaniel buy it." "What?" "Number. Absolutely not." "Emma, he's a billionaire. He probably spends more on coffee in a week than this dress costs." "That's not the point." Emma looked at herself in the mirror again. "I don't want him to think I'm with him for his money." Sarah softened. "He's not going to think that. He knows you. But if you're really that worried, I'll loan you the money. You can pay me back whenever." Emma turned to her friend, eyes welling up. "Really? Really? Now stop crying and buy the damn dress. You're going to knock him dead." Saturday evening arrived faster than Emma expected. She spent the entire day a bundle of nerves. By the time the car arrived, another sleek black car with another uniformed driver, she was ready to throw up. The gala was being held at a massive hotel ballroom downtown. When Emma walked in, she felt like she'd stepped into another world. Crystal chandeliers, live orchestra, women in gowns that probably cost more than Emma's car, men in tuxedos that looked custom-tailored. And in the middle of it all, looking impossibly handsome in a black tuxedo, was Nathaniel. He saw her and immediately crossed the room, his eyes never leaving hers. "Wow," he said when he reached her. "You look incredible." Emma blushed. "You don't look so bad yourself." He offered his arm. "Ready?" "As I'll ever be." The night was overwhelming. Nathaniel introduced her to what felt like 100 people. Business partners, investors, socialites. Everyone was polite, but Emma could feel them sizing her up, wondering who she was, why she was there. At one point, a woman in a silver gown approached them. She was beautiful, model beautiful, with sharp eyes and an even sharper smile. "Nathaniel," she purred, air kissing both his cheeks. "It's been too long." "Victoria," Nathaniel said politely. "Emma, this is Victoria Ashford. We went to college together." Victoria's eyes flicked to Emma, assessing. "Charmed? And what do you do, Emma?" "I work at a bookstore," Emma said, lifting her chin. "How quaint." Victoria's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Nathaniel, we simply must catch up. There's a deal I'd love to discuss with you." "Maybe later," Nathaniel said, his hand tightening on Emma's waist. "I'm with Emma right now." Victoria's smile faltered for just a second. "Of course. Enjoy your evening." She walked away, and Emma let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "Sorry about that," Nathaniel said. "Victoria's intense." "She's beautiful," Emma said quietly. "She's also not you." Nathaniel turned her to face him. "Hey, you okay?" Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, this is a lot." "I know, but you're doing great." He kissed her forehead. "Come on, let's get some air." They stepped out onto a balcony overlooking the city. The night air was cool, and the sounds of the party faded behind them. "Better?" Nathaniel asked. "Much?" Emma leaned against the railing. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you ever feel like you're living in two different worlds?" Nathaniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Emma gestured back toward the ballroom. "That world in there, it's your world, and it's so different from mine. Sometimes I wonder if I even belong." Nathaniel stepped closer, taking her hands. "Emma, listen to me. You belong wherever you want to belong, and I want you here, with me, in my world, in any world. But no buts." He cupped her face. "I don't care about the money or the galas or any of it. I care about you, just you." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. "Promise?" "I promise." He kissed her, slow and deep, and when they pulled apart, Emma knew. She was in love with him, completely, irrevocably, in love. The weeks that followed the gala were a whirlwind. Emma fell into a rhythm with Nathaniel, a rhythm that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. They'd meet for coffee before work. He'd text her throughout the day, little messages that made her smile. "Thinking about you. Can't wait to see you tonight. Reminder, you're amazing." But as much as Emma was falling deeper, she also felt the weight of their different worlds pressing down on her. Nathaniel's life was a constant stream of high-stakes meetings, business dinners, and social events. Emma's life was shifts at the bookstore, microwave dinners, and the occasional girls' night with Sarah. One evening, Emma was working late at Chapter and Verse, organizing a new shipment of books, when the bell above the door chimed. She looked up expecting a last-minute customer. Instead, it was Nathaniel. "Hey," she said, surprised. "What are you doing here? I thought you had a dinner meeting." "I did." He walked toward her, hands in his pockets. "I left early." "Why?" "Because I'd rather be here. With you." Emma's heart flipped. "Nathaniel, you can't just leave meetings." "I can. I'm the CEO. That's kind of the perk." He leaned against the counter, watching her. Besides, they were talking about profit margins for 45 minutes. I've heard it all before. Emma laughed, shaking her head. "You're ridiculous." "Ridiculously in love with you, maybe." She froze, her hand still on the stack of books. "What?" Nathaniel straightened, suddenly looking nervous. "I said I'm ridiculous. No, the other part." He took a breath. "I'm in love with you, Emma." The world stopped, completely stopped. Emma stared at him, her heart pounding so loud she was sure he could hear it. You love me?" "Yes." He stepped closer. "I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel this way. I love you. I love the way you talk about books like they're old friends. I love the way you laugh at my terrible jokes. I love that you don't care about my money or my company. You just care about me." Emma felt tears welling up. "Nathaniel." "You don't have to say it back," he said quickly. "I just needed you to know." "Nathaniel," she said again. And this time, she closed the distance between them, cupping his face in her hands. "I love you too." His eyes widened. "You do?" "Yes, you idiot." She laughed through her tears. "I've been in love with you for weeks. I just didn't know how to say it." Nathaniel kissed her then, pulling her close, and Emma felt like her heart might actually explode from happiness. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Nathaniel rested his forehead against hers. "So what now?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, where do we go from here?" "Because, Emma, I don't want this to just be some casual thing. I want you in my life, really in my life." Emma's chest tightened. "Nathaniel, I want that too. But our lives are so different. You have your world, and I have mine, and then we'll build a new world," he interrupted. "Together." Emma smiled, tears still streaming down her face. "You make it sound so simple." "It can be. If we want it to be." He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Move in with me." Emma's eyes went wide. "What?" "Move in with me," he repeated. "I have more than enough space. You can bring all your books, your clothes, even Sarah if you want." "Nathaniel, slow down." Emma laughed, overwhelmed. That's a huge step." "I know, but I'm ready." "Are you?" Emma looked at him, really looked at him, at the man who rented out museums for her, who left important meetings just to see her, who loved her, not despite their differences, but because of them. "Yes," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes, I'm ready." Nathaniel's face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. He picked her up, spinning her around, and Emma laughed, holding on to him like he was the only solid thing in the world. "This is crazy," she said when he finally set her down. "I know. We're moving way too fast." "I know. But I don't care." "Me neither." He kissed her again, softer this time. "When can you move in?" Emma thought about her tiny apartment, her mountains of books. Sarah. "I need to talk to Sarah first. And I need to pack. And, oh God, I have so much stuff. I'll hire movers." "Nathaniel." "Emma." He took her hands. "Let me help." "Please, I want to do this with you." She took a breath, then nodded. "Okay. But I'm packing my own books. No one touches my books." He laughed. "Deal." 2 weeks later, Emma stood in the penthouse apartment she now called home, surrounded by boxes and furniture that cost more than her entire previous life. Sarah was there too, helping her unpack, though mostly she was just marveling at the space. "Emma, this place has a wine fridge," Sarah said, opening the kitchen fridge for the third time. "A whole fridge, just for wine." "I know," Emma said, pulling books out of a box. "And the view." Sarah walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. "You can see the entire city from here." "I know. And the bathtub is the size of my bedroom." Emma laughed. "Okay, I get it. It's fancy." Sarah turned to her, grinning. "You're living in a penthouse with a billionaire. How is this your life? I honestly have no idea." Emma sat down on the couch, a couch that probably cost more than a car. "Sometimes I feel like I'm going to wake up, and this will all have been a dream." "Well, if it is, don't wake up." Sarah sat beside her. "But seriously, Em, are you happy?" Emma thought about it, about Nathaniel, about the life they were building together. "Yeah, I really am." "Good." Sarah hugged her. "You deserve this. All of it. Thanks, Sarah. For everything. That's what best friends are for." Sarah stood up. "Now come on. Let's unpack these books before Nathaniel gets home and realizes you own more books than the actual bookstore." They spent the rest of the afternoon organizing, laughing, and turning the penthouse into something that felt like home. By the time Nathaniel walked in that evening, the place looked lived in, cozy, like it had always been meant for both of them. "Wow," Nathaniel said, looking around. "You did all this." "Sarah helped," Emma said, walking over to him. "It looks amazing." He pulled her close. "Feels like home." "Yeah," Emma agreed, resting her head on his chest. "It really does." But of course, happiness never lasts without a few bumps in the road. The first bump came in the form of a phone call. Nathaniel was in his home office, on a conference call, and Emma was curled up on the couch reading when her phone rang. Unknown number again. "Hello? Emma Walsh?" A man's voice this time. Deep. Official. "Yes. Who is this?" "My name is Gregory Hunt. I'm a journalist with the City Tribune. I'm working on a story about Nathaniel Cross, and I was hoping to ask you a few questions." Emma's stomach dropped. "I'm not interested." "It'll only take a few minutes. I just want to know how you and Mr. Cross met. There are rumors circulating that you're quite the mystery woman." I said, "I'm not interested." Emma's voice was firm now. "Please don't call me again." She hung up, her hands shaking. Nathaniel emerged from his office a few minutes later, looking tired. "Hey, you okay? You look pale." Emma hesitated. Should she tell him? Would it worry him? "Emma." He sat beside her, concerned. "What happened?" "A journalist called," she said quietly. "He wanted to ask about us, about how we met." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "What did you tell him?" "Nothing." I hung up. He took her hand. "Good. Emma, I'm sorry. I should have warned you. Sometimes the press gets nosy. They want to know everything about my life, and now that you're part of it, they want to know about me too," Emma finished. "Yeah," he sighed. "If it gets to be too much, we can—" "No," Emma squeezed his hand. "I can handle it. I wasn't expecting it." Nathaniel pulled her close. "I'll take care of it. I'll have my team make it clear that our private life is off limits. Can you do that?" "I can try." He kissed the top of her head. "I won't let them make you uncomfortable. I promise." Emma nodded, trying to believe him. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. The second bump came a week later, at a business dinner Nathaniel had invited her to. It was smaller than the gala, just a handful of investors and their partners. But the moment Emma walked in, she felt out of place. The women were all polished, poised, talking about vacation homes and charity boards. The men were discussing stocks and mergers, and Emma? Emma had spent her day recommending young adult novels to teenagers and restocking the mystery section. She tried to engage, tried to keep up with the conversation. But every time she spoke, she felt like she was saying the wrong thing. At one point, a woman named Diane turned to her with a polite smile. "So, Emma, Nathaniel mentioned you work in retail." "I work at a bookstore," Emma corrected gently. "Oh, how charming." Diane's tone was sweet, but there was something condescending underneath. That must be so relaxing, just surrounded by books all day. "It has its challenges," Emma said, trying to keep her voice even. "I'm sure." Diane sipped her wine. "Though I imagine it's quite different from what Nathaniel does. All those high-pressure decisions and whatnot." Emma felt her cheeks flush. "Yes, I suppose it is." Nathaniel, who'd been deep in conversation with one of the investors, seemed to sense the tension. He reached over, taking Emma's hand under the table. Later, in the car ride home, Emma was quiet. "You okay?" Nathaniel asked, glancing at her. "Yeah, just tired." "Emma!" He turned to her. "What's wrong?" She sighed. "Do you ever feel like I don't fit in your world?" Nathaniel frowned. "What?" "Number. Why would you think that?" "Because tonight, sitting at that table, I felt like everyone was looking at me thinking, what is she doing here? She doesn't belong." "Emma, and maybe they're right," she continued, her voice breaking. "Maybe I don't belong. Maybe I'm just the girl who works at a bookstore, and I'll never be more than that." Nathaniel pulled the car over, right there on the side of the road, and turned to face her fully. "Listen to me," he said, his voice firm. "You belong anywhere you want to belong. And those people tonight? They don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. The only thing that matters is you and me. Do you understand?" Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I love you," Nathaniel said, cupping her face. "Not because of where you work or what you do. I love you because you're you, and I don't care what anyone else thinks." Emma leaned into him, letting him hold her. "I love you too. I'm sorry. I got in my own head." "It's okay." He kissed her forehead. "But promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you'll always tell me when you're feeling like this." "Don't keep it inside." Emma nodded. "I promise." They sat there for a while, just holding each other. And eventually, Nathaniel started the car again, and they drove home together. But Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of the challenges they'd face. The article hit the internet 3 days later. Emma was at the bookstore, helping Mr. Peters inventory the classics section, when her phone started blowing up. Text after text. Call after call. She ignored it at first, assuming it was Sarah with some new emergency. But then Mr. Peters looked at his computer screen and frowned. "Emma, you might want to see this." She walked over, and her blood ran cold. There, on the homepage of the City Tribune, was a headline: "Billionaire CEO Nathaniel Cross's mysterious new girlfriend. Who is Emma Walsh?" Below it was a photo, one taken outside the restaurant the night of the gala. Emma and Nathaniel walking hand in hand, smiling at each other. "Oh no," Emma whispered. Mr. Peters patted her shoulder. "I'll give you a minute." Emma clicked on the article, her hands shaking. The piece wasn't outright cruel, but it was invasive. It detailed her job at the bookstore, her small-town upbringing, even her apartment, her old apartment, with Sarah. It painted her as a nobody who'd somehow caught the attention of one of the city's most eligible bachelors. The comment section was worse. "Gold digger? What does he see in her? She's obviously using him for his money." Emma felt sick. Her phone rang. Nathaniel. "Emma, I just saw it," he said the moment she answered. "I'm so sorry." I'm on the phone with my lawyers right now. Nathaniel, stop. Emma's voice was hollow. It's fine. It's not fine. They had no right to publish that. But they did. Emma closed her eyes. And now everyone knows about me. About us. Emma, I need to go. I'm at work. Emma, wait. She hung up. Mr. Peters reappeared, looking sympathetic. Why don't you take the rest of the day off? I can't. We have inventory to finish. Emma. His voice was gentle. Go home. Take care of yourself. The books will still be here tomorrow. Emma nodded numbly, grabbed her coat and walked out. She didn't go home. She couldn't face the penthouse, the reminder of Nathaniel's world. Instead, she walked. Block after block, through the city, trying to clear her head. Her phone rang again. Sarah, this time. Emma, where are you? I just saw the article. Are you okay? I don't know, Emma admitted. I don't know. Come to the apartment. I'm home. We'll talk. Emma changed direction, heading toward her old building. When she arrived, Sarah was waiting at the door, already pulling her into a hug. It's going to be okay, Sarah said. Is it? Emma pulled back. Sarah, they're calling me a gold digger. They're saying I'm using him. Who cares what they say? Sarah led her inside. You know the truth. Nathaniel knows the truth. That's all that matters. But what if he starts to believe it? Emma's voice broke. What if he realizes I'm not worth all this trouble? Emma! Sarah grabbed her shoulders. Nathaniel loves you. He's not going anywhere. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I saw the way he looked at you at that restaurant. And I saw the way he rented out an entire museum for you. That man is gone for you. Completely gone. Emma wanted to believe her. She really did. But the doubt had already taken root. Her phone buzzed again. Nathaniel, please call me. I'm worried. Emma stared at the message, then turned off her phone. Emma, Sarah said carefully, don't shut him out. I'm not. Emma sank onto the couch. I just need time to think. Sarah sat beside her. Think about what? About whether this is worth it. Emma looked at her friend. Is loving him worth all of this? The scrutiny, the judgment, the feeling like I'm constantly one step away from not being good enough. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, only you can answer that. But Emma, love is always worth fighting for, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. She stayed at Sarah's that night, curled up on the couch like old times. But it didn't feel the same, because home wasn't this apartment anymore. Home was with Nathaniel. The next morning, Emma turned her phone back on. 53 missed calls, 68 text messages, most from Nathaniel. Please talk to me. I'm worried about you. Emma, I love you. Please don't shut me out. She took a deep breath and called him. He answered on the first ring. Emma. Hi, she said quietly. Where are you? Are you okay? I've been going out of my mind. I'm at Sarah's, and I'm okay. Silence. Then, can I see you? Emma hesitated. Nathaniel, I don't know if... Please, just let me see you. Let me explain. She closed her eyes. Okay, meet me at the bookstore in an hour. I'll be there. Emma hung up, took a shower, and tried to pull herself together. Sarah made her coffee and toast, which she barely touched. You're doing the right thing, Sarah said, talking to him. I hope so. An hour later, Emma was standing outside Chapter and Verse when a familiar black car pulled up. Nathaniel got out, looking disheveled, tie loosened, hair messy, dark circles under his eyes. Emma, he said, walking toward her. Hi. They stood there, just looking at each other. Then Nathaniel pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. I was terrified, he whispered into her hair. I thought you'd left. I thought I'd lost you. Emma's resolve crumbled. She wrapped her arms around him, burying her face in his chest. I'm sorry. I needed space to think. I know. He pulled back, cupping her face. Emma, I am so sorry about that article. I never wanted you to deal with this. I tried to protect you, but I failed. It's not your fault. It feels like it is. He took a breath. But I need you to know something. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what the press writes or what people think. All I care about is you and us. Emma felt tears welling up again. Nathaniel, this is so hard. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this life. You are, he said firmly. You're the strongest person I know, and you don't have to do this alone. I'm here. I'm always going to be here. But what if it gets worse? What if? Then we'll face it together. He kissed her forehead. Emma, I love you, and I'm not giving up on us. Not now. Not ever. Emma looked up at him, at the man who'd turned her world upside down in the best way possible. I love you too. Then come home, he said softly. Please, come home. Emma nodded, and Nathaniel held her hand as they walked to the car. On the drive back to the penthouse, Nathaniel made a call. Victoria. It's Nathaniel. I need you to schedule a press conference for tomorrow. I'm making a statement. Emma's eyes widened. Nathaniel, what are you doing? He looked at her, his jaw set. I'm setting the record straight. The press conference was held the next day at Nathaniel's office building. Reporters packed the room, cameras flashing, questions being shouted before he even reached the podium. Emma watched from the side, her heart pounding. Nathaniel stepped up to the microphone, looking calm and collected. But Emma could see the tension in his shoulders. Thank you all for coming, he began. I'll keep this brief. As many of you know, there was an article published yesterday about my personal life, specifically about my relationship with Emma Walsh. The room buzzed with murmurs. I want to make something very clear, Nathaniel continued. Emma is not a gold digger. She's not using me. She's not any of the things that article implied. She is an intelligent, kind, incredible woman who I am lucky enough to love, and I will not tolerate anyone, journalist, stranger, or otherwise, disrespecting her. Emma's eyes filled with tears. From this moment forward, my personal life is off limits. I will not be answering questions about my relationship. I will not be entertaining speculation. Emma and I deserve privacy, just like anyone else. And if any publication chooses to violate that privacy, they will be hearing from my legal team. He paused, looking directly at the camera. Emma, if you're watching this, I love you, and I'm sorry you had to go through this. But I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know how much you mean to me. The room erupted with questions, but Nathaniel stepped away from the podium and walked off the stage. He found Emma backstage, and she threw her arms around him. You didn't have to do that, she said, crying. Yes, I did. He held her tight. You're worth fighting for, Emma. Always. And in that moment, Emma knew. No matter what challenges came their way, they would face them together. Because love, real love, was always worth the fight. The press conference changed everything. Overnight, the narrative shifted. Instead of scrutinizing Emma, the media started respecting Nathaniel's boundaries. A few publications even published apologies. And while there were still whispers, still comments online, they didn't sting the way they had before, because Emma wasn't facing them alone anymore. Life settled into a new normal. Emma went back to work at the bookstore, though now she occasionally had to deal with curious customers who recognized her. Nathaniel continued running his company, though he made a point to leave work early more often to spend time with her. They cooked dinner together, or rather, Nathaniel tried to cook while Emma laughed at his attempts. They watched movies curled up on the couch. They spent weekends exploring the city, finding hidden bookstores and quiet cafes. And slowly, Emma stopped feeling like she didn't belong in his world, because she realized she didn't need to fit into his world. They were creating their own. One Saturday morning, Emma woke up to find Nathaniel already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at something in his hands. "Morning," she mumbled, rubbing her eyes. "What time is it?" "Early," he said, not turning around. Emma sat up. "Nathaniel? You okay?" He finally turned to face her, and she saw what he was holding, a small velvet box. Emma's breath caught. "I know this is going to sound crazy," Nathaniel said, his voice unsteady. "We've only been together a few months, and I know there are a million reasons why this is too soon, too fast, too everything." He opened the box, revealing a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. "But Emma, I've spent my whole life being careful, making calculated decisions, never taking risks. And then you walked into my life, well, sat at the wrong table, and everything changed." Emma felt tears streaming down her face. "You make me laugh," Nathaniel continued. "You challenge me. You make me want to be better. And I don't want to spend another day without knowing that you're mine. Forever." He slid off the bed, kneeling in front of her. "Emma Walsh, will you marry me?" Emma stared at him, at the man who'd turned her life into a fairy tale. And she realized something. She'd been so focused on whether she belonged in his world that she'd forgotten the most important thing. He belonged in hers, too. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes. Yes. Yes." Nathaniel's face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. He slid the ring onto her finger, and then he was kissing her, and Emma felt like her heart might actually explode from happiness. They spent the rest of the morning in bed, talking about the future, where they'd get married, whether they'd have kids, what their life would look like. "I want something small," Emma said, tracing patterns on his chest. "Nothing fancy. Just our closest friends and family." "Whatever you want," Nathaniel said, kissing the top of her head. "As long as I get to marry you, I don't care where or how." Emma smiled. "You're going to be such a sappy husband." "I'm a sappy fiancé," he corrected. "I'll be even worse as a husband." She laughed, and in that moment, everything felt perfect. But of course, life has a way of testing even the strongest love. The first test came in the form of Nathaniel's mother. Emma had never met her. Nathaniel rarely talked about his family, and when he did, it was always brief and vague. But now that they were engaged, a meeting was inevitable. "She's particular," Nathaniel said carefully, as they drove to his childhood home, a massive estate on the outskirts of the city. "Particular how?" Emma asked nervously. "She has opinions, strong opinions, about everything." "Great." Emma smoothed down her dress for the 10th time. "That's exactly what I wanted to hear." Nathaniel squeezed her hand. "Just be yourself. She'll love you." Emma wasn't so sure. They pulled up to the house. Calling it a house felt like an understatement. It was a mansion. 3 stories, manicured gardens, a fountain in the front yard. "You grew up here?" Emma asked, staring. "Unfortunately." A butler answered the door, an actual butler, and led them to a sitting room where a woman sat, poised and elegant, sipping tea. Nathaniel's mother, Catherine Cross, was beautiful in that intimidating, timeless way. Perfect posture, perfect hair, a gaze that could cut through steel. "Nathaniel," she said, standing, "you're late." "By 5 minutes," he replied, kissing her cheek. Catherine's eyes slid to Emma. and you must be the fiancé." "Emma Walsh," Emma said, extending her hand. "It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Cross." Catherine shook her hand briefly. "Please, sit." They sat. Catherine poured tea. The silence was deafening. "So," Catherine finally said, looking at Emma, "Nathaniel tells me you work at a bookstore." "Yes, ma'am." "Chapter and verse. It's a small, independent shop." "How quaint." Catherine sipped her tea. "And what do your parents do?" "They run a hardware store, back in my hometown." "I see." Catherine set down her cup. "And tell me, Emma, what are your intentions with my son?" Emma blinked. "I'm sorry?" "Your intentions? Nathaniel is a very successful man. He has a reputation to uphold. I need to know that you understand the responsibilities that come with being part of this family." Emma felt her cheeks flush. "Mrs. Cross, I love your son. That's my intention, to love him and support him." Catherine's expression didn't change. "Love is wonderful, dear, but it doesn't pay bills or maintain legacies." "Mother," Nathaniel said, his voice tight. "That's enough. I'm simply being realistic," Catherine replied. "Emma seems like a lovely girl, but she's not—" "Not what?" Nathaniel stood up. "Not rich enough? Not from the right family? Not good enough for me?" Catherine sighed. "Nathaniel, sit down. You're being dramatic." "No, I'm being honest." He turned to Emma. "Come on, we're leaving." Emma stood, her heart pounding. "Nathaniel," Catherine said, her voice sharp. "If you walk out that door, then I walk out," he interrupted. "I love Emma. I'm going to marry her. And if you can't accept that, then that's your problem, not ours." He took Emma's hand, and they walked out. In the car, Emma was silent. "I'm sorry," Nathaniel said, gripping the steering wheel. "I should have warned you." She's always been like that. "It's fine," Emma said quietly. "It's not fine." She had no right to speak to you that way. Emma looked at him. "Nathaniel, she's your mother." "That doesn't give her the right to disrespect you." He pulled over, turning to face her. "Emma, listen to me. I don't care what she thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks. I love you, and I'm going to marry you. Okay?" Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Okay." He pulled her into his arms, and they sat there for a while, just holding each other. Eventually, they drove home. And that night, as they lay in bed, Emma whispered, "Do you think she'll ever accept me?" Nathaniel was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. But even if she doesn't, it doesn't change anything. You're still the person I want to spend my life with." Emma nodded, resting her head on his chest. "I love you. I love you too." But deep down, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle. The second test came from an unexpected place. Emma was at work when a woman walked into the bookstore. She was elegant, poised, wearing designer clothes. She looked around, then her eyes landed on Emma. "Emma Walsh?" the woman asked. "Yes?" Emma frowned. "Can I help you?" The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "My name is Victoria Ashford. I believe you met me at Nathaniel's gala." Emma's stomach dropped. "I remember." "Good." Victoria walked closer. "I'll get straight to the point. Nathaniel and I have a history. We were together for 3 years, and I think you should know that before you make any permanent decisions." Emma's heart pounded. Nathaniel never mentioned that. "Of course he didn't." Victoria's smile was cold. "Men never do." "But the truth is, Emma, Nathaniel and I were perfect together. We came from the same world, understood the same pressures, and if you hadn't come along, we'd probably be engaged by now." Emma felt like the ground was shifting beneath her. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I care about him." Victoria stepped closer. "And I don't think you're right for him." You're sweet, I'm sure, but you're not equipped to handle his life. The scrutiny, the pressure, the expectations. And eventually, he's going to realize that. Emma's hands clenched into fists. You're wrong. Am I? Victoria tilted her head. Think about it, Emma. How long before he gets tired of defending you? How long before he realizes you're more trouble than you're worth? Get out, Emma said, her voice shaking. Now. Victoria smiled. I'm just trying to help. No, you're trying to sabotage my relationship. And it's not going to work. So leave. Before I call security. Victoria held up her hands. Fine. But Emma, when this falls apart, and it will, remember that I warned you. She walked out, leaving Emma standing there, trembling. That night, Emma told Nathaniel everything. He was furious. Victoria came to your work. She had no right. Nathaniel, is it true? Emma interrupted. Were you two together? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Yes, 3 years ago. But it ended badly. She wanted me to give up my company and join her family's business. I refused. We broke up. I haven't spoken to her since. Why didn't you tell me? Because it didn't matter, Nathaniel said. Emma, that relationship was over long before I met you. Victoria is in the past. You're my future. Emma wanted to believe him. She really did. But Victoria's words kept echoing in her mind. Eventually, he's going to realize you're more trouble than you're worth. Emma. Nathaniel cupped her face. Talk to me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, Emma said quietly, that maybe Victoria's right. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Nathaniel's eyes widened. No, don't do that. Don't let her get in your head. But what if she's right? Emma's voice broke. What if I'm just making your life harder? Emma. Nathaniel pulled her close. You're not making my life harder. You're making it better. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm not losing you. Not to Victoria. Not to anyone. Emma buried her face in his chest, crying. And Nathaniel held her, whispering promises and reassurances until she finally believed him. Because love, real love, meant fighting through the doubt, fighting through the fear, fighting through everything, and Emma was ready to fight. The next few weeks were a blur of wedding planning. Emma and Nathaniel decided on a small ceremony, just close friends and family, at a vineyard outside the city. Sarah was the maid of honor. Nathaniel's best friend from college, Marcus, was the best man. And despite all the chaos, all the doubt, all the challenges, Emma found herself genuinely excited. This was happening. She was marrying Nathaniel Cross. One afternoon, Emma and Sarah were at a bridal boutique, looking for the perfect dress. Emma had tried on at least 15, and none of them felt right. Too puffy, she said, stepping out of the dressing room in a ball gown. Sarah shook her head. Yeah, you look like a cupcake. Emma laughed, going back to try on another one. The next dress was simpler. Lace sleeves, a flowing skirt, a neckline that was elegant without being too revealing. Emma stepped out, and Sarah's eyes filled with tears. That's the one, Sarah whispered. Emma turned to look at herself in the mirror, and her breath caught. It was perfect. Yeah, she said softly. This is it. They bought the dress, and on the way home, Sarah said, I'm really happy for you, Em. You deserve this. Emma squeezed her hand. Thank you. For everything. I couldn't have done any of this without you. That's what best friends are for. The days leading up to the wedding were hectic. Flowers, seating arrangements, last-minute alterations. Emma barely had time to think, which was probably a good thing, because every time she did think, the doubt crept back in. What if something went wrong? What if Nathaniel changed his mind? What if… Emma! Nathaniel's voice pulled her out of her spiral. They were sitting on the couch, going over the guest list. Where'd you go? Sorry, just thinking. He set down the list, turning to face her. About? Emma hesitated. What if this is a mistake? Nathaniel frowned. What do you mean? I mean, what if we're moving too fast? What if we're not ready? What if… Emma! He took her hands. Look at me. She did. Do you love me? He asked. Yes, of course. And I love you. So, how could this be a mistake? Emma bit her lip. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared too, Nathaniel admitted. But I'm more scared of losing you. So, if we're going to be scared, let's be scared together. Okay? Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. Okay. He kissed her, slow and sweet, and Emma felt the doubt melt away. Because this was right. They were right. The night before the wedding, Emma stayed at Sarah's apartment. Tradition dictated that she and Nathaniel shouldn't see each other until the ceremony, and while Emma thought it was silly, Nathaniel insisted. It's bad luck, he'd said, kissing her goodbye. You don't actually believe that? Maybe not. But I'm not taking any chances. So Emma spent the night eating ice cream with Sarah, watching rom-coms, and trying not to think about the fact that in less than 24 hours, she'd be someone's wife. You okay? Sarah asked, pausing the movie. Yeah, it's surreal. Tomorrow I'm getting married. Sarah smiled. Tomorrow, you're marrying the love of your life. That's pretty amazing. Emma nodded. Yeah, it really is. The next morning, Emma woke up early, her stomach in knots. She showered, did her makeup, and with Sarah's help, got into her dress. Wow, Sarah said, stepping back. Emma, you look beautiful. Emma turned to the mirror, and for a moment, she didn't recognize herself. She looked like a bride. She looked like someone who belonged in Nathaniel's world. Number. She looked like someone who belonged in their world. The vineyard was beautiful. Rows of grapevines stretched out in every direction, and the ceremony was set up under a canopy of white flowers. String lights hung overhead, and soft music played in the background. Emma stood at the edge of the aisle, her arm linked through her father's. You ready, sweetheart? Her dad asked. Emma took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm ready. The music changed, and Emma started walking. And then she saw him. Nathaniel stood at the end of the aisle, wearing a perfectly tailored tuxedo, his eyes locked on her. And when their eyes met, he smiled. That slow, devastating smile that made her fall in love with him all over again. Emma walked down the aisle, her heart pounding, tears streaming down her face. And when she reached him, Nathaniel took her hand and whispered, You're stunning. You're not so bad yourself, she whispered back. The ceremony was short and sweet. They exchanged vows, promises to love each other through the good and the bad, through the easy and the hard. Promises to build a life together, no matter what. And when the officiant said, You may kiss the bride, Nathaniel pulled Emma close and kissed her like it was the first time all over again. The reception was perfect. Dinner under the stars, dancing, laughter, toasts from friends and family. Marcus stood up, raising his glass. I've known Nathaniel for 20 years, and in all that time, I've never seen him as happy as he is with Emma. So here's to the happy couple. May your love continue to grow stronger every day. Everyone cheered. Sarah gave a toast next, her voice choked with emotion. Emma's been my best friend since college, and I've watched her go through a lot. But I've never seen her as happy, as confident, as alive as she is with Nathaniel. So Nathaniel, if you ever hurt her, I will hunt you down. Everyone laughed, including Nathaniel. But seriously, Sarah continued, you two are perfect for each other, and I'm so honored to be part of your story. Congratulations. More cheers, more clinking glasses. And then Nathaniel stood up, pulling Emma to her feet. I know I'm supposed to wait for a private moment, he said, looking at her, but I can't. Emma, from the moment you sat at the wrong table, my life changed. You made me laugh. You challenged me. You made me believe in love. And I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you know how much you mean to me. I love you. Today. Tomorrow. Always. Emma was crying. Again. I love you too. They kissed, and the entire room erupted in applause. The rest of the night was a blur of dancing, cake cutting, and laughter. And when it was finally over, when the last guest had left, Nathaniel pulled Emma close. Ready to start forever, Mrs. Cross? Emma smiled. Ready. They drove to a hotel, a beautiful suite overlooking the city. And that night, wrapped in each other's arms, Emma realized something. This wasn't just a happy ending. It was a happy beginning. 6 months into married life, Emma and Nathaniel had settled into a rhythm. They'd figured out how to balance their worlds, Nathaniel's high-powered corporate life and Emma's quieter, book-filled existence. They made it work because they wanted to, because they chose each other, every single day. But life, as always, had more surprises in store. Emma had been feeling off for a few weeks, tired, nauseous. She chalked it up to stress. She was helping Mr. Peters expand the bookstore, taking on more responsibilities, working longer hours. But when the nausea didn't go away, Sarah made her take a pregnancy test. I'm not pregnant, Emma said, staring at the little box Sarah had shoved into her hands. Just take it, Sarah insisted. Rule it out. Emma rolled her eyes but went into the bathroom. She took the test, set it on the counter, and waited. 3 minutes felt like an eternity. When the timer went off, Emma looked down. 2 lines. Positive. Oh my God, she whispered. What? Sarah called from outside the door. What does it say? Emma opened the door, holding up the test. I'm pregnant. Sarah screamed. Actually screamed. Oh my God. You're pregnant. Emma sank onto the couch, still in shock. I'm pregnant. Does Nathaniel know? No. I literally just found out. Sarah sat beside her, grinning. Emma, this is amazing. Is it? Emma's voice was small. Sarah, we've only been married 6 months. We haven't even talked about kids yet. So? You love each other. You're building a life together. A baby is just the next step. Emma wanted to believe her, but all she could think was, what if he's not ready? That night, Nathaniel came home late. Emma was sitting on the couch, the pregnancy test hidden in her pocket, trying to figure out how to tell him. Hey, he said, kissing the top of her head. Sorry I'm late. The merger meeting ran long. It's okay. Emma's voice was shaky. Nathaniel frowned, sitting beside her. You okay? You look pale. I'm fine. I need to tell you something. His expression shifted to concern. Okay, what's going on? Emma took a deep breath, pulled the test out of her pocket and handed it to him. Nathaniel stared at it for a long moment. Then he looked at her. You're pregnant, Emma finished. I'm pregnant. Silence. Emma's heart pounded. Say something. Please. Nathaniel set the test down, then pulled her into his arms, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. We're having a baby, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Emma pulled back, searching his face. You're happy? Happy, he laughed, tears streaming down his face. Emma, I'm ecstatic. We're having a baby. Emma started crying, too. I was so scared you wouldn't be ready. I wasn't ready for you either, he said, cupping her face. But you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And this baby? This is just more proof that we're supposed to be together. Emma kissed him, and they sat there for a long time, just holding each other, trying to process the fact that their family was about to grow. The next few months were a whirlwind. Doctor's appointments, morning sickness, Emma's body changing in ways she never expected. Nathaniel was there for all of it, holding her hair back when she was sick, rubbing her feet when they hurt, talking to her belly like the baby could already hear him. "Hey, little one," he'd say, resting his hand on her stomach. "It's your dad. Just wanted to let you know, your mom and I are really excited to meet you." Emma would laugh, running her fingers through his hair. "You're such a sap. I prefer the term devoted father." But not everything was perfect. Emma struggled with the changes to her body. She felt exhausted all the time, and the bookstore, which she loved, suddenly felt overwhelming. One day, she broke down crying in the middle of a shift. Mr. Peters found her in the back room, sobbing. "Emma," he said gently, "what's wrong?" "I don't know," she said, wiping her eyes. I feel like I'm failing at everything. The bookstore, being a wife, being pregnant. I can't do it all." Mr. Peters sat beside her. "Then don't." Emma blinked. "What? You don't have to do it all. You're creating a human being, Emma. That's a full-time job on its own. If you need to take a step back from the bookstore, that's okay. But I love working here. And you'll come back when you're ready. But right now, you need to take care of yourself. And that baby." Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you." That night, she told Nathaniel what Mr. Peters had said. "He's right," Nathaniel said. "Emma, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Not to me, not to yourself. Just focus on staying healthy. Everything else can wait." Emma nodded, leaning into him. "I love you." "I love you too. Both of you." At 7 months pregnant, Emma and Nathaniel started preparing the nursery. They painted the walls a soft yellow, assembled a crib, and filled the room with books. "Of course you're giving our child a library," Nathaniel teased. "They need options," Emma said, organizing the shelves. Nathaniel laughed, pulling her close. "You're going to be an amazing mom. You're going to be an amazing dad." They stood there in the middle of the nursery, imagining what their life would look like in a few months, and it felt surreal, terrifying, perfect. At 38 weeks, Emma went into labor. It was the middle of the night, and she woke up to a sharp pain. "Nathaniel," she said, shaking him. "Nathaniel, wake up." He bolted upright. "What? What's wrong?" "I think it's time." His eyes went wide. "Time? Like baby time?" "Yes, baby time." They rushed to the hospital, Nathaniel driving like a maniac, Emma gripping the door handle and trying to breathe through the contractions. 12 hours later, after what felt like an eternity of pain and pushing, and Nathaniel holding her hand and whispering encouragements, their daughter was born. Lily Rose Cross, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect in every way. The nurse placed her in Emma's arms, and Emma looked down at her daughter, this tiny, beautiful human, and felt her heart explode. "She's perfect," Emma whispered. Nathaniel leaned in, kissing Emma's forehead, then Lily's. "She's ours." Emma looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "We did it." "You did it," Nathaniel corrected. "You're incredible." The first few weeks with Lily were exhausting. Sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, learning how to breastfeed. Emma felt like she was drowning. But every time she looked at her daughter, every time Lily wrapped her tiny hand around Emma's finger, it was worth it. Nathaniel was hands-on in a way Emma hadn't expected. He changed diapers, gave Lily baths, walked her around the apartment at 3 a.m. when she wouldn't stop crying. "You're a natural," Emma said one night, watching him rock Lily to sleep. "I'm terrified," he admitted, but I love her so much it hurts." Emma smiled. "Yeah, me too. Life with Lily was different, harder, but also fuller, richer, more meaningful." And as Emma sat in the nursery one night, feeding Lily while Nathaniel slept, she thought about everything that had led to this moment. Sitting at the wrong table, kissing a stranger, falling in love, getting married, having a baby. It all felt like fate, like the universe had been guiding her to this exact moment all along. "Thank you," she whispered to no one in particular, "for all of it." Lily cooed, and Emma kissed her forehead. This was her life now, and it was perfect. What did you think of Emma and Nathaniel's story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give it? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one of our stories. And stick around to watch more heartfelt tales by clicking right here on the final screen.